This has quite literally fractured my family. I have an older son from my first marriage who's now 24. I have two younger kids from my current marriage who are 21-year-old twins. My divorce occurred right after my son was born. Over the years, my visitation has been primarily summers and holidays since my ex-wife moved to a different state. I have a particular skill set and was very good at. And all three of my kids have expressed interest in it. Unfortunately, I have only been able to meaningfully teach it to my younger kids. This was because to make my visitation with my older son more memorable, I would do camping, vacations, etc. I didn't have time to teach him properly. Also, anything I did try to teach him was forgotten and not practiced because he lived in an apartment with his mother. The major issue now is that my younger kids have started a company after high school using this skill. I provided the initial funds and as such have a 33% stake in it. This company has really soared this past year and it's making a lot of money. My older son graduated from college and is doing a job he hates and is not exactly making a lot of money, especially compared to his siblings. Part of this is my fault because he did ask to take a few years off after high school and maybe have me teach him what I knew, but my wife was battling cancer at the time and I told him I couldn't. And now, I'm not well enough to teach anymore. He is now telling me to include him in this company as an equal partner. That he'll do the finances. This was not received well by his siblings who say they do basically 95% of the work. And that he didn't struggle in the earlier years to get it running. I'm really at a loss here. I thought of just giving my share of the company to my oldest son, but it does seem unfair to his siblings who started this company in the first place. My oldest has become very bitter about this and has involved my parents. They are taking his side and now my younger kids are resentful that their grandparents have been turned against them. Our Sunday family lunches are no longer happening and I'm having to see my oldest for dinner on other days. And every time I see him I'm getting accused of not treating him fairly. It kills me because I made so many compromises to have him in my life in a meaningful way. He accused me on Saturday of pushing him out of my new family and loving his siblings more. I haven't been able to sleep since. Should I have done all this differently? Update. I have talked to my younger kids and I explained to them that even if they aren't happy with how their brother approached it, it's clear he feels left out from our family and it's all our responsibility to help fix this. They agreed to extend the offer of apprenticeship again to their brother where he works and learns as a salaried employee. But they've made it clear that no ownership can be transferred after he's put in at least 3 years of work like they have. I actually think this is generous because they are paying a salary that they don't need to. However, I'm not sure if my oldest will go for this. He is feeling some sort of way about working for his brothers, not with them. I reached out to a teacher in Alaska who I know casually. He might do me a favor and take on an apprentice. I need to scrounge up some money and see if I can send my son there. But again, it's Alaska and I'm not sure if my son will be receptive. I don't know what else I can offer at this point. My wife is disgusted that we've become that family that is fighting about money. She wants to force the twins to give a stake in the company to their brother, but I really think it's a bad idea. They need to fix their conflict first or it'll just be a disaster. I don't believe we should be telling our younger kids how to run their company. I'll be meeting my son this Friday for dinner. I hope he'll be okay with at least one of the options. I also need to talk to my parents to stop creating more issues. They've always enjoyed the chaos and like pitting people against each other. It's not helping. You are the idiot. Wow, yes, you should have done this differently. At a basic level, your older son asked you to teach him something. For a variety of reasons, you said no, even though I imagine there was ample time over the last 24 years. What about all of these lunches and dinners? You also refer to raising him as compromising, which I imagine would hurt his feelings greatly. You don't have to raise children equally, but you have to be equitable. Your twins got to live with you, learn valuable skills, and receive startup funds for a profitable business. Your older son got camping trips. I'm not sure I see equity here. Not the idiot, his mom moved him out of state. Dad isn't the idiot here. The kid can't understand when his stepmom was battling cancer, it wasn't the time. He's the idiot. The kid is holding resentment for his own choices and blaming anyone else. He should have practiced what he learned. Made any kind of effort. Dad isn't the only one that knows the skill, personal responsibility. He doesn't automatically get to feel entitled to his siblings' company. You are the idiot. You flat out loved and put more time and energy into the twins than you did your son. You can cry circumstances all day long, but at the end of the day, you alone failed your son. You pushed him out of your family and prioritized them over him. You didn't make time for him. Your excuses I've seen repeated all over this thread mean nothing. Of course, your parents are siding with him. I bet they've seen the favoritism from their point of view and are equally disgusted as your oldest son is with you. Also, your twins sound very entitled given that they leaned on you for startup money. My grandmother passed earlier this year and she had a pretty nice jewelry collection. Before she passed, she knew what went to who and it had me meet to see what I'd like. Instead of jewelry, I asked for her wedding dress. No one else wanted it, I had gotten married in it, and she was really touched. After talking to her kids, she went ahead and gave it to me before passing. When she did pass away, I was surprised she hadn't written down who got what pieces. Since I had already passed on the inheritance of a piece, I didn't go to the meeting with the rest of the family. Basically, they sat down and went oldest to youngest and let each person pick until there were no pieces. From what I heard, it was peaceful and everyone was happy. Since I wasn't there, they still wanted me to have something and picked a ring they thought had fake diamonds. It was the biggest and they assumed it was a diamond substitute. It was sweet of them to do that, so I could have a piece of her every day too. When I got the ring, I didn't examine it. It was big enough I thought it was fake too. But then I saw a diamond on the inside band, indicating Leo diamonds. I took it to get it evaluated and it has real diamonds. Its value is about $5,000 more than her next expensive piece. They had the papers on all of those. Essentially, I got a nicer and more expensive piece than even her oldest daughter. But they chose it for me. Now, they want to redo the distribution. But I feel like it's fair. I didn't ask for anything, they gave me something anyways. Now they realize the value of it and want it back. Not the idiot. This is really distasteful that they're doing that. Honestly, I think you made a mistake in informing them of the diamond's worth. Bad move, should have kept that to yourself. In the end, I suppose you have to decide how much that is worth to you in the grand scheme of things and how it will affect your relationship with your family. I feel like you have the right to keep it, they gave it to you and it's their own fault for not checking its value first. You are the idiot. It was misappraised, by them, and should be distributed fairly the way they planned. You got what you wanted, the dress. Don't let a trinket, even an expensive one, cause a rift in your family. You opted out of the expensive jewelry, you should hold yourself to that decision. Think of it this way, if a bank makes an error and accidentally puts money in your account, you can't spend it. You have to give it back. I know, seems wrong? That's the way it works though. Be cool, give the ring back, and love the dress you got. No idiots here. I am treating this ring as a gift since you were not expecting it and had already received your inheritance of the dress. And let's take sentimentality out of it since no one seems to care for the ring except for its monetary value. If your relatives had intended to give you an envelope with a $100 cash gift and instead accidentally gave you one with $10,000, then what would you do? I say you have every right to keep it, but that it's understandable for them to ask for it back. I'm 28, my wife is 30. We're high school sweethearts and got married 4 years ago. So my wife is around 19 weeks pregnant, with twins. It's been a rocky pregnancy so far and she's had problems with throwing up, dizziness, the whole deal. For this reason, and because twins are obviously a high-risk pregnancy, we both agreed that she would take a leave of absence from her work, who was gracious enough to give her mat leave early. This is made easier by the fact that we live in a country with amazing mat leave laws. Anyways, throughout our relationship, I've always done most of the cooking. I never minded because I quite enjoy it and I think I'm decent at it. My wife agrees, or at least used to. However, since the pregnancy got going, she started hating my cooking more and more. She'll make snide comments like one that really hurt me: a teenager with one hand tied behind their back could cook this steak better, which I laughed off at the time, but over time the comments have gotten much worse and hurtful over time. Last Friday, I finished at work and came home with her favorite cranberry juice flavor and cooked one of her favorite dishes, tikka masala, which I've perfected over time. She took one bite and made another snide comment: "So you couldn't do any better than this?" And I finally lost my patience. threw down my fork onto the plate, and I told her that I'm tired of her comments, and if she thinks that, then I'm done cooking for her and she can either get some cookbooks or takeout, because I can't stand it when she does that. She started crying and took a cab to stay with her parents, who live 35 minutes away. I assumed she talked to my family because my two older sisters, who she's close with, told me that I was in the wrong and that her hormones are probably causing her to act that way, and that I should apologize for the sake of peace in the household. It's Monday and she still hasn't said a single word to me. Not the idiot. I am a female, also currently pregnant, and so sick, with twins. Hormones are not an excuse. Hormones are not an excuse for being nasty or being mean. I feel sick, and yes, there are things I just can't face eating or want to eat, but I'd not say things like that to myself. If the rest of us can be pregnant and deal with hormones without being rude to our partners, then she can too. No idiots here. I don't think your wife is being an idiot. It must be very difficult to be in your position. You're working hard, you're doing your best, you seem like a nice guy. It is also hard to be in her position, for intrinsically different reasons. She is stressed, her hormones are crazy, she's carrying 2 babies, and she is having trouble dealing with her frustrations in a healthy way. She's not an idiot. You aren't either. You need to have a conversation calmly and kindly. Go from there. Not the idiot. Hormones awful and can make you really moody, but not to the point that you act like that constantly. It's not just one comment or even a couple. She's been repeatedly verbally beating down your cooking while refusing to do it herself, despite your working all day. On top of that, hormones make you moody, but they don't control what you say. She is still in full control of her words and actions. You probably could have handled it a little more gracefully, but I can't blame you for snapping. Time to have a chat with your wife. My 17 years old daughter, youngest, and we had her late, is 7 weeks pregnant. She will be 18 by the time she gives birth. She is not in a relationship with the father. He really, I can't stress this enough, does not want a baby. I honestly don't even think he'll show up for the birth or anything. She has decided to continue with the pregnancy against all advice from practically every adult in her life. After she insisted on not only continuing with the pregnancy but raising the baby, I asked her how she is going to manage that. This was the gist of the convo. Her, I'll get a job. Me, who's going to watch the baby while you're at work? Her, I thought you and Dad could. Me, absolutely not, I'm not raising another baby. Pretty much a back and forth for a bit that lead me to believe that if she has this baby in this house, I'm practically going to be its mother. I'm very recently retired and my husband is retiring in exactly 11 months, there's a countdown, and this is not how I want to spend my retirement years. It's not fair to us. So I told her that she has until the baby is born to find a place to live. Husband has always been wrapped around her finger, which normally is endearing. I love how much he loves our children, so he is not fully on board with that, but I feel like we need to be united on this. I just want to know if I'm in the wrong here. No idiots here. You can be upset she wants to keep the baby, but that's ultimately not your or every other adult in her life choice to make. I think you're correct that she is assuming you will be more of a caretaker than you'd like to and maybe isn't thinking things through, as a normal teenager. I don't think you're an idiot if you are supportive of her decision without letting her take advantage of you. Perhaps you can help her find some community or government programs that can help you and your future grandchild out. Not the idiot she chose to go through this pregnancy, and if she is mature enough, in her mind, to be a mom, then she is mature enough to figure out her situation. I don't mean that you shouldn't help out when you can, but to assume that you will be always available for her to watch the child while she works is unreasonable and shows how little she has planned for this. It's definitely a no-win situation, but I don't think you are being an idiot for asking her to act like an adult. You are the idiot, and to be honest, I 100% hope that your daughter cuts you from her life and doesn't let you see or be part of her child's life. As a parent, you should be aiming to make life easier for your children, not doing things like kicking them out of the house because they're having a child you don't agree with. It sounds like you are the only person that shouldn't be a parent in your story, and sincerely hope you reevaluate your life and stop being a bad person. I, 26, like to go for a run in the morning before I go to work. I usually set out around 5 a.m. so I can make sure to get at least 5 miles in at a time before having to get ready for work. Well, depending on the time of year, I'm either running around sunrise or wrap up before, Which means that people in the neighborhood have those security lights that pop up if you're in the area. Well, people started complaining about their lights being triggered and their dogs flipping out at early times, and people on their stupid doorbell cameras will look at people going by, and several people posted videos of me running by. I'm identifiable because I have a headlamp and flashers to make sure cars see me. This was on that Nextdoor app, so I chimed in to say, hey, sorry about that. And got dogpiled by people telling me to change up my route, or have more respect. Some people told me to go to a gym, why don't I run in the afternoon or evening, etc. I told them I had no way of remembering whose house has what lights or what dogs, and that it's just something we all have to deal with. I'm not going around complaining about the sprinklers that come on and drench me because they aren't calibrated right. And then said that I love to run in the morning because it makes me feel good through the day, to which someone said, yeah, try getting woken up by some smart guy who won't be neighborly enough to just go to the gym. Anyway, I've gotten some really nasty notes, and people keep posting videos of me and comments saying that I should really get a gym membership, and other people calling me rude because the dog barks and wakes up the baby or something. I don't enjoy running on a treadmill. Never have, never will. Besides, why pay out the body to be leered at and hit on by gross dudes when I can run in the darkness and watch the sunrise? Seems like a no-brainer, right? My best friend has suggested I just head out later, but I won't have enough time for the rest of my routine, shower, breakfast, etc. if I do that. Not the idiot, to hell with them. Those lights can be calibrated to not pick up movement from the street, and if the dog owners train their dogs properly, they wouldn't have any issues with them barking. My dogs only ever barked if there was a snake/fox in the yard because we trained them not to bark. Actually, you want to raise complaints with the council about the noise of the barking dogs. That should set them straight. You are the idiot. If it was one person complaining, I wouldn't think so, but it's literally an entire neighborhood. Is there no other outside route available to you? Sleep is important, and I doubt you would want someone driving through your neighborhood blasting their car stereo at 3 a.m. and saying, well, I work night shifts, there's no other time I can go for a drive to relax. I find it hard to believe you can't just run down different streets. Not to mention the fact that people have told you it bothers them and you said, oh sorry. Then kept doing it. Not the idiot, this is flat out ridiculous. They don't own the street. If their equipment or dog is waking them up, it is what it is. I leave to work every day at 4 a.m. And I'm sure my car sets off a few Ring doorbells along the way in my neighborhood. I'd be damned if someone decides to publicly attack me because I leave to work too early, and maybe I should change my start time or my job. I wouldn't change a damn thing if I was you.